What's going on, Imperials? It's Emperor Cubone here. So the Teal Mask is out, people are playing it, seemingly more so than went for the Isle of Armor. Maybe that's just me, but it feels like more people were open to the DLC this time around, which can be good, but also bad. I'm not going to spoil anything here, but there are certainly upsides and downsides to the first half of the Gen 9 DLC, so I thought that it might be fun to go through some of the new aspects and view whether they contribute or detract from the overall experience. Although I will be doing things a little differently with the pros and cons of certain areas of the game, such as items, attacks, and so on, for us to compare and contrast the impact specific categories can make. So, here are the top pros and cons for the Teal Mask. But first, a word from today's sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends. That's right, this week is actually sponsored because I had to tell you about Raid Shadow Legends' new feature, Mythical Champions. The legendary champions have been cool for sure, but as we've all known since 1996, mythicals are even cooler than legendaries. But the rarity doesn't make them so special. No, these champions have a new mechanic called Metamorph. This being the power to switch between two different forms. It's an ability so powerful that it actually turned me from a Cubone into a real-life human. But that's not nearly as impressive as what it does in-game, because Metamorph gives you two different attacking forms for the price of one, providing unprecedented variety. However, they will use the same resources, accessories, masteries, etc., so be sure to keep track of that. But if you can pull it off, you'll be able to swap between the forms to take on any battle the way you choose. So check out the primal shards in the portal to summon your mythical champion today. On top of this deal, Raid also has the new Sun Wukong champion for free. All you have to do is log in on 7 different days from the 22nd all the way to October 23rd, and you too can get this crazy Monkey King. New players also have the chance to get the epic champion Stag Knight as well as his Jontron skin. Just use code JTSKIN before October 7th. Also, if you follow the link or QR code, you can get access to a free starter pack filled with loot. So check out the link in the description and you too can be a Raid Warrior today. Pro number 4, new regional Pokemon. So to me, the biggest upside of the new Pokemon in this expansion area has got to be the new regional kinds of Pokemon. Now, none of them are variants per se like in other games, but they bear clear similarities to previous creatures, with the new grass type totally not Poltegeist, or the actual new evolution to Applin. It is a bit weird that they decided that a 4th Grass and Dragon was needed in this line, but having Diplin here is nice to see, and honestly, it's not even that hard to evolve. Even the new Matcha Tea monsters aren't that bad considering I found the item to evolve it like 20 minutes after catching the first one. The reason I call these a pro is because unlike a new legendary or something else, you could potentially find these variations again early in a new game sometime, so adding new Pokemon is always a good thing. Well, usually. Con number 4, the Loyal Trio. So yeah, we were all really off about these ones being starters, huh? I mean, can you blame people with that coloring? We've been conditioned for over 25 years to think red, green, and blue together mean a certain thing, and I guess they did so on purpose, but after a fun marketing trick, these Pokemon are now just stuck looking unwell for no real reason. None of these types seem to match their colors. I mean, are they poisoned just because of the scarves? Well, apparently, considering the ability they have. But worse than that is their designs are just plain ugly. Okay, to be fair, Pheasantipede looks decent and is the only one that I actually like, but the other two are horrendous. They look so far removed from Pokemon, like some sort of third-tier imitation. Not to mention the names, Okie Dokie and Monkey Dory, make them feel really extra like a Yokai Watch character. And like I just said last time, they're basically special one-off Pokemon for here and nowhere else, so why bother creating 3 new Pokemon that we can't even use after this? Especially when they didn't even make them special enough to be distinct without even a signature move or anything. But speaking of, con number 3, the new move, Syrup Bomb. Now, it's true that there are far worse signature moves overall, but of the new attacks added in the Teal Mask, Diplin got stuck with the worst. Now, first things first, the effect on this move of slowing the target for the next 3 turns is nice, to display the lingering effects of the sticky substance. But why is it so much worse than all of the other signature moves of its counterparts? Grav Apple and Apple Acid are both 80 base power moves with full accuracy, while Syrup Bomb is at 65 power with 85 accuracy? Why is this so bad? Sure, with its signature ability, it lowers the foe's evasion slightly, but that's still not a guarantee to hit, and you could still have a different ability. The other Apple moves also have stat-dropping effects, so it's not even for a balance issue. I can only guess that it's some sort of message about healthy eating when the high fructose attack is intentionally nerfed so heavily. But, pro number 3, Matcha Gacha. The other new grass types have it a little better. Still not fully accurate, but 90 with 80 power is already a preferable spot to the last one. I'll admit to not being a connoisseur of such things, so I didn't really know what matcha was, but this Pokemon makes pretty good use of it. Even with its own unique utensil, but the move is so much better than the last one because it is not only a healing move that drains their health, but it can also leave the target with a burn. I was just talking about this sort of thing recently, so a grass move leaving a burn is a fantastic trick that not many other grass types could reliably pull off, but giving it to these new tasty treats makes me already excited to see them again. Con number 2, the Roto Stick. Okay, so as far as items go, this is absolutely one of the stupidest they've ever thought up. Maybe you don't care, but this didn't need to be an item at all. Granted, you don't have to equip it or anything as a key item, but just think about what the purpose of this device is. It's to hold your Rotom phone. That might be fine for our real phones, but we are shown all throughout the entire game that Rotom can freely float whenever it wants. So why can't it float just a little bit further away from my face? Raihan didn't seem to have a problem controlling his last generation, so all they had to do was say that Rotom got an upgrade just like the map or whatever, but to put a stick on it seems like a huge step back if you ask me. But not all items were bad because, pro number 2, Mochi. There's a big divide between casual and competitive players, but items like this can unite those factions with appreciation. These delectable desserts are designed to improve the stats of your Pokemon, so that when you feed them a certain flavor, you will increase their effort values by 10 points. This is honestly so much easier than trying to track down specific Pokemon that will boost the one area that you're looking for. Sure, you do still have to do some other mini-game, but it's still less overall time. And let's not forget the Fresh Start Mochi, which resets all of your EVs. So if you've accidentally gotten the wrong ones, or if you just didn't know what you were doing at the time, you don't have to throw out that Pokemon. You can wipe the slate clean and work from the ground up. So anything that preserves the bond that you've built with your specific team and helps to streamline competitive has got to be an upside for all kinds of players. Con number 1, ability updates. Every new generation brings new abilities, but they also tend to shuffle abilities around, so that the same Pokemon can have an ability revoked and replaced with a completely different one. And some of those can be good, like with these Pokemon getting the Sharpness ability, or with Sneasler not losing anything but simply gaining a third possible option. That is purely positive, but Sneasel was not so lucky swapping out Poison Touch for Pickpocket. Is it really so important that Sneasel steal things that this Poison-type variant can't poison things anymore? This actually affects a lot of Hisuian Pokemon, with the new Typhlosion losing in immunity in Flash Fire and getting Frisk for some reason. Or there's Decidueye losing its signature hidden ability, Long Reach, which would have worked with all types of moves in favor of Scrappy, letting its one fighting level up move hit ghosts now. I'm not sure that's worth it for the Owl Archer. Or to me, maybe one of the most baffling is the Piplup line losing Defiant for the competitive ability. Ostensibly, these are similar in boosting your offenses when stats are lowered, but what used to be physical is now only special. It is true that Empoleon is already specially focused, so you can double down on that, but Defiant let its lesser attack catch up so that you could take a mixed approach if you wanted. Again, I like the ability idea, but it seems as if they don't really think much about what's needed and more like they're drawing things out of a hat, and it does make them a little less enjoyable to use that way. Pro number 1, Gift Pokemon. We all expect starter Pokemon to be given out, but there's still just something so satisfying about being handed a free Pokemon beyond that. Now, they can't just be a regular old Pokemon that you could find out in the wild, but the people of Kitakami do it pretty well, starting with Hisui and Growlithe. They showed us Perrin in the trailers, and you meet her almost immediately, and she has this past form at her side even then. But once you fulfill her quest, she will give you another one that you can keep. That raises several questions about whether the Rock-type strain has actually survived all this time with the original, but that is not the end of it. We also get a chance at one of the Sinnoh starters, and it's not even that hard. You just have to have a picnic with your teacher that you've known since day one, and he will just give you an egg. So you don't get to pick which one like you normally would, but it's even more exciting this way. That might even be a fun way to do it in a side game at some point. But giving out a free starter late in the game is always a joy, even if we did just have 3 games with him being in the spotlight. But getting a starter in a game is guaranteed. One Pokemon that is not is Munchlax, because he's relatively rare, but not here. I mean, I have found some out in the wild, but this one is special because it is a shiny Pokemon. Yes, they decided once again to provide us with a shiny Pokemon that you know will always be available. You do have to do some mini-games once again to unlock it, but knowing the prize that awaits would surely be enough incentive, and maybe even enough for a second file so that you can have both of the evolutionary line. So it is honestly impressive they managed to cram so many quality, worthwhile gifts into such a condensed section of the game. But to me, actually seeing a payoff for my efforts makes this one of the biggest pros in the first half of this DLC. There are many other factors that can make you feel encouraged or dejected about this additional content, but what are your simple pros and cons for the Teal Mask? Let me know down in the comments. Also be sure to leave a like, share this video, and subscribe so that you too can become an Imperial today. And until next time, stay grounded!